Fire them up. That's what we do at WYAB. We fire them up. You are tuned into 1039 WYAB and the Andrew Gosser Show. Happy Friday, everyone. Happy Friday. We are streaming on Rumble. We are streaming on X. We are streaming on YouTube. And we are streaming at the mothership, WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the megawatt signal, that is 1039 WYAB. Like, share, and subscribe to our stream. Share it around with friends. Help build the station. Help build the community. We'd appreciate that. I'd appreciate a follow on X as well. At Andrew Gosser, AndrewGasser. That's where you can follow me on X. And the phone number, if you want to be on the show today, 601-879-0002. Text line is open at 601-879-5060. And the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. It is standard, ladies and gentlemen. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? You are the saints. Yep. And we are planting seeds. God's watering it, and God's causing the increase too. And I don't know about you this morning, but we had some weather in Terry. Now, there was a tornado warning issued in Hines at roughly 4:37 this morning. If you had your weather radio, you would know. If you had your phone set up the right way, you would know. But I bet a lot of people either A, slept right through it, or B, were right in the line of that storm. I do not know if it was a tornado or not, but this is what I can say. On the street that I live on, I had to take an alternate route because the street was completely treed off. There's so many down trees this morning as I went down through Terry, my part of Terry, the unincorporated part. And it was an adventure to get to work. Normally, I get to work at a certain time, sometime between 7:45 and 8 o'clock, but I didn't get here almost 9, which is not bad because I had most of my show prep done yesterday. But it was just an interesting morning. Farm was good, and I hope you all are okay too. We can talk about that because I haven't seen any stories on any of the major news networks. Here, let me go ahead and check the latest stuff here from our local news stations. Nope. Nothing. All right, we're going to be conducting an experiment here over the next 47 days, and we're just going to let you know it's going to be 47 days. And I'm really excited for next week because next week on Monday, we'll have a live show. We will not have a rerun show. We're going to have a live show. Brother Blake Bartlam will be in the studio with me. We'll be talking all things conservative politics. And that's always fun. It's always great when you can come in and have a 17-year-old sit there and quiz you out and take you to task if you're not pulling your weight. It's good stuff. Tuesday's going to be an awesome show. And here's why. We are going to have Miss A.J. Kern on the radio. And for those of you who don't know, she ran against Ilhan Omar in Minnesota and has found out a lot of really interesting things about Ilhan Omar and knows the rules that need to be done to go ahead and take care of Ilhan Omar. And to prove my point, she has a website, and I just got it today. I was going to have her on today, but I'm like, give me the weekend. Let me get smart. Let me go through and read all your documents. But you can go do it too. And her website is ajkern.com, ajkern.com. And I challenge all of you, whether you're on the political right or the left, to go ahead and check her out and go check out her links. Go check out her stuff. See if you feel that she's credible or not. I'll tell you what, her story is absolutely insane. And wouldn't you know it? Darn that New York Post. Nancy Mace unveils legislation to ban naturalized citizens like Ilhan Omar, Premel Japal, and Shiri Thindar from serving in Congress. This is coming from the Washington Post, or I'm sorry, the New York Post, not the Washington Post. That's garbage wet newspaper. Nancy Mace, Republican, South Carolina, and she's not running for re-election, by the way. I believe she's running for governor, unless something's changed. Unveiled legislation Wednesday aiming to ban foreign-born U.S. citizens from serving in Congress after other high levels of government in the federal government. And you know what? I know we have rules on who can run for president, who can't. I don't think our founding fathers ever thought we would be invaded and go to war like the way we are being invaded right now, and how we are fighting a war. Make no mistake, everybody thinks the war is Cuba or the war is Iran or the Middle East. It's not. The war is being fought right here on the ground in the United States of America and Mississippi. The South Carolina Congresswoman signaled out Elon Omar, Theander, and Japel in announcing her joint resolution and added an amendment to the U.S. Constitution that would prohibit naturalized U.S. citizens from becoming federal judges. Oh, that's a great idea. How many naturalized citizens from Canada who hold backgrounds that are not conducive with the American value system that our country has been born on, including federal judges holding Senate confirmed positions or serving in the U.S. House or Senate? I think that's a fair amendment. Now, I think there's a possibility that the bill will pass. Of course, the Democrats won't be for it because they want open immigration, they want population change. But there's a good opportunity here for us to really do some good stuff. Now, whether we'll get a amendment to the Constitution, that I'm not very confident in. I'm not very confident at all. All foreign all born in foreign countries, none of were US citizens by birth, all sitting in the United States Congress, all making clear every single day that their loyalty is not to America. And we've heard Elon Omar talk about how she's loyal to Somalia first. We've heard those. I haven't heard any speeches from Japal or Theander, although if you've ever listened to Theander's impeachment articles of impeachment against Pete Hegseth, President of the United States, or whoever, it's increasingly becoming crazier and crazier. And the problem with Nancy Mace is that this isn't going to matter because you have people who are immigrating here legally and illegally, refusing to assimilate to the American way of life, basically setting up a mini Somalia and then having kids here who are US citizens. And do they care about the United States? Nope. They're committed to their country of origin, whether that be Pakistan, Somalia, Arabia, wherever it is. And now they're naturalized citizens. And we're having such a problem of educating our own people on what made us great. We forgot about it. And I just feel that this is going to be something that's going to be becoming more and more prevalent. It just says here, and this doesn't just affect Democrats, by the way, this will affect Republicans too. 26 House members, including 19 Democrats and 7 Republicans, were born outside the U.S. In the upper chamber, 6 senators, 4 Democrats and 2 Republicans, were born outside the U.S. And they've got pictures of the 3 congressmen specifically who have been causing all the chaos inside the House. And there is chaos here, and it's what's designed. It's by the uniparty. And in case you haven't noticed it, there have been all sorts of crazy things going on inside the Senate and the House now that President Trump has gone out and started making blows against the deep state, whether that be John Cornyn or others. Now all of a sudden we're sitting there looking at this saying, "Oh, all of a sudden now all these things that we were expected to get through the House or in the Senate are not gonna get through?" Here's the thing, they can sit there and vote on bills, but they still have to be signed by the president. And I'm just telling you, MAGA is not dead. They want you to be dead. They want you to be dejected. I have some of those files in the program if we decide to go down that road today. But all of a sudden, these massive we'll call them planners, government planners. This district here in Mississippi is going to be a Republican, but this is going to be our guy. And this Congress district over here in Kentucky is going to be a Democrat, but that's going to be our gal. And they sit there and they plan it. And all of a sudden, Trump comes in and says, I don't want this person in the Senate anymore. He's being a pain in the neck. Boom. I'm glad Cassidy's gone. I hope Cornyn's gone. Look what happened in Indiana. Look what happened in Tennessee. And even those of us who are disappointed in some of the things that President Trump has done, there can be no denying that he is the red pill in the blue system. They had this big rally on Wednesday, the Bring the Smoke tour. Well, there was only one person who really brought the real smoke, the essence, if you will, Gabrielle Olivier. He actually went to this and filmed people talking about this. And it's the truest thing. It's the truest thing. When someone cannot debate a conservative, they yell, scream, and then scream racist and then get you kicked out of the event. I've been begging for somebody to be Mississippi's own Nick Shirley, and Gabe's like, "Here, watch this." And he went, and I've got that video on YouTube. We might play some of it. He is on YouTube. If you want to follow it and check out his video, it's called Unprofitable Servant. And the video's titled Gabe Tries to Save the Black Vote. And we've got stuff from teachers today. We've got to talk about the UFO UAP drop this morning as I was coming into work, surveying the storm damage there in Terry, Mississippi, in Hinds County. That wasn't on my bucket list to do today. We've got outreach tonight that we got to get ready for. We've got all sorts of stuff to cover today. And there's just a plethora of stuff. When we get back, we're going to talk about SpaceX and how they're trying to kill SpaceX and make SpaceX something that it's not. And there is a way to kill it, which rolls right into the UAP story. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah. It is the dulcet tones of the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 1039 WYAB. Ladies and gentlemen, yesterday SpaceX tried to launch its brand new version 3 of Starship, and it got down to about 29 seconds a couple times, and they had to recycle, and it didn't launch. And if there's something wrong, you don't want to launch, obviously. But to watch some of these people, these pugnant commentators, talk about how SpaceX is failing and trying to downplay SpaceX is absolutely mind blowing to me. I heard a commercial from United Launch Alliance talking about they're the most experienced rocket launchers in the United States, dating back to Gemini. And if you put all of their launches going back to 1959, you would be right. ULA, because it's a conglomerate of Lockheed Martin and Boeing. You would be right. You've had the most launches in the United States. In second is SpaceX, behind by about 150. But SpaceX has only been launching since 2008. Actually, 2007, I think, is when the first one went up, and it failed about 30 seconds after launch. ULA has pretty much been dissolved. They do have a rocket called the Vulcan, but it doesn't have the reusability that SpaceX has. It doesn't have the same capabilities that SpaceX has. You can't launch humans on a Vulcan rocket from ULA. And to watch the mainstream media dutifully report this news gleefully that we had a mission scrub, like the space shuttle never had a mission scrub, like the $43 billion Artemis system never had a mission scrub. Give me a break. The only difference about this is that SpaceX is using their own money to do the work. They do get paid government contracts to launch, NRO satellites that spy on us. They did develop a version of Starlink called Star Shield, specifically for the U.S. military, and they got paid money for that. But they're actually delivering on their contracts that they signed with the U.S. government, unlike Boeing, unlike Lockheed Martin. I've got stories on them too, how these brand new defense contractors, up and comers, are absolutely running circles around the mainstream industrial complex. But then comes this article out of Axios. SpaceX not the behemoth everyone thought. By Dan Primrick. Not sure who he is. Elon Musk's SpaceX isn't the financial juggernaut that many were expecting, according to the IPO prospectus it filed yesterday. It's only projected to be a $1.75 trillion offering, which would make it one of the world's most valuable companies. And as you know, when you're paying taxes, if you take a loss, you don't have to pay those taxes. And because SpaceX is wildly unprofitable, reporting a $4.9 billion net loss on $18.7 billion in consolidated revenue for 2025, they're like, that doesn't make sense. But you look at what SpaceX is actually doing. They're bringing together AI, Tesla, SpaceX, Starlink, all under one roof. They're going to make a lot of money. It is going to be profitable. And you can't have that because the one thing you can say about Elon, you can call him autistic or Asperger's, or you want to play all that nonsense and silly games. That's fine. You go head to head with him mentally, and I'll watch with my Coca-Cola. I'll enjoy myself. The one thing you can't say about Elon, and he is results driven, and he pushes the envelope. Look at what he did, and I know people are going to be upset about his Colossus AI supercomputer right there outside of Memphis that he built in less than 130 days and became obsolete in under a half a year. And so he's building a new one and renting the old one out to his competitor. It's foolish. I've been watching Elon since 2002. and he might come out on the downside, you think, but he's only using that as like a diving board. When you run and you jump and before you get flung up in the air, you gotta go down and get flung into the air like a trampoline. People think he's going down, he's just getting ready to jump. Now, as I see it, there is one thing that could absolutely destroy SpaceX and flip the whole thing on its head, and that's a story coming out today. Ground news. U.S. Department of War releases more images of unidentified aerial phenomena. See the pictures here. And I've got hundreds of articles now that are populating. CBS News has got some, the Korean Times has got some, Times of India, the U.S. Sun, ABC News. ABC News is here on the radio. They're better than CBS was. So let's see what ABC says. Pentagon releases more declassified UFO files, including intelligence officer accounts seeing orbs. Whether you believe in UFOs or not, whether you believe in the space aliens or not, the military is seeing something that they don't know what the hell it is. And we're not going to talk about it because if we don't know what it is and it's going ahead and we're not able to combat it, well, it's a threat. And we don't want to let our enemies know that we were facing a threat that we don't know about. It's absolutely incredible. They've actually got a video of a F-16 shooting down what I call the jellyfish. It's the UAP that looks like it's got some tentacles hanging out the bottom, and it's crazy. We've all watched the video of the orb screaming along the ocean, and a Hellfire missile, AGM-114. I don't know why I couldn't think of the acronym, know about them enough. Actually shot one of these UAPs, and you saw the UAP brush it off like nothing even happened. My question is why are we firing at something that we know that isn't based with origins here? That is using a type of propulsion that we have nothing knowing about. And we've all heard of decorated naval officers. The commanding officer of Strike Fighter Squadron 41, the Black Aces, David Fravor, personally went after one of these things off the USS Nimitz in 2004. And he didn't know what it was. It's nothing that he knew about. I think it was Top Gun too. So it's not like this guy didn't know what the heck kind of technology it was. But if somebody could go ahead and get that type of energy source that is piloting and powering all of these, whatever they are flying around, well, that's going to sink SpaceX. Because some of those videos you watch, you know, they're pulling like 10,000 Gs, and on a good day, an F-16 pilot can pull 10 Gs for a minute or a second or two. I don't know what the G limit is on a F-22 Raptor. I'm sure Fat Amy cannot be as good as a F-16. F-15, not as good as a F-16. F-22 with its thrust vectoring probably has a pretty good G limit, but I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm not right in. That's all right. But think about this. If the amount of energy that some of those phenomena are exhibiting through the atmosphere, they have to be producing incredible amounts of energy because you are integrating with the atmosphere and with gravity, and you're just doing some stuff that truly, quote unquote, defies gravity. And I don't know if EG&G or one of these other lesser known defense contractors that gets billions of dollars, trillions of dollars in black budgets knows more about this than the regular military does. It's almost like you got the regular military and then you got the IRGC in Iran, right? You got the Pentagon and then you got the black budgets that are operating outside of congressional oversight. Now, we'll all say we got congressional oversight, but no, we don't have any congressional oversight. Just go talk to Representative Luna or Representative Burchett or former Representative Matt Gaetz. I mean, we're getting to the point now, ladies and gentlemen, where this is being more and more talked about. And I'm talking about it from a place of grounded in science and what's being reported in the news. Before, if we would have talked about this just a year ago, well, no, maybe a year ago, we might have got away with it for one day. But you look at what's happened over the last 3 years, that you would have been mocked, you would have been ridiculed, you would have been scorned, you would have been trashed publicly. People would laugh at you. Now you say that, and you got people looking at you. Well, this ain't got nothing to do about skin color, political party, or anything else. People just look like we don't know what that is. We know it's out there. We don't know what that is. And this story is going to continue to unfold. It's going to continue to drip. You know, Steven Spielberg, who wrote Close Encounters of the Third Time came out in 1977, E.T., a couple other ones. He's coming out with a new one called Disclosure Day. And I haven't seen the trailer for it yet, but I have friends who have, and they say it'll make the hair on your skin stand up. I know Star Wars came out this weekend with their new Mandalorian and Grogu show, and I'm hearing that most of it is mid at best. I will not be going to see it, but I might go watch Disclosure Day. I might go just watch that one. I haven't been to cinema since the movie David came out, the cartoon on the life of David when he goes and fights Goliath. That was a great, great show. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. But if you really want to take down Elon and SpaceX, go get one of these new super 0-point energy sources, and that's how you're going to take down SpaceX. But sitting here writing articles from Axios talking about how SpaceX IPO, I'll tell you what, if anybody could get shares on SpaceX before this went public, you would have bit their hand off. I wanted one share just so I could frame it on my wall and never sell it or anything. I just wanted to be a shareholder. I'm going to have that chance coming up when it does IPO. And I'm not telling you what your investment advice should be, but I'm telling you, I want to be a part of that history. We continue to move on here at the Andrew Gosser Show. We'll continue to watch as more tranches of UFO information get disclosed. We'll talk about it from a factual point of view. We're not going to sensationalize this stuff. And I'll go ahead and share those stories on my X account right now. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back.
WYAB.
Fox News Commentary with Will Kane, next.
Protecting your home should not be a headache. Many security companies lock you into multi-year contracts and huge cancellation fees. SimpliSafe does things differently.
With SimpliSafe, you get award-winning 24/7 professional monitoring around $1 a day without long-term commitments. SimpliSafe earns your trust every day.
Over 5 million people rely on SimpliSafe. That's why U.S. News & World Report named them the best home security system of 2026.
Right now, get 50% off your custom system at simplisafe.com/Armstrong. That's half off at simplisafe.com/Armstrong. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Here's Will Kane.
The Late Show truly was iconic. And was is the important word. Was is the operative thinking piece of this headline. Because there was a time that The Tonight Show, The Late Show, all had outsized influence. They all mattered. And I would argue not exclusively because of the personalities chosen to lead those institutions, There are other influences at play in the decline of influence of late night television, but in no small part, personalities like Stephen Colbert and Jimmy Kimmel have made that entire genre worthless. And I truly mean worthless.
For more commentary like this, go to foxnewspodcast.com.
It's no secret the Honda and Acura vehicles are some of the best built and most popular vehicles in America. Both Clinton Body Shops are Pro First certified to repair your Honda or Acura to the high standard of safety and appearance your car was designed to meet. Visit collision.honda.com and watch the videos that explain why it's so important to choose a body shop certified by North American Honda. In Clinton or in Richland, choose Clinton Body Shop. We work for you. We take pride in perfection.
Get ready, Louisiana! Johnny's Pizza House is turning up the heat with our sweet the swamp pizza. Packed with crawfish, shrimp, a taste of crab, andouille sausage, bell peppers, onions, jalapenos, and a blend of Cajun spices, all smothered in delicious mozzarella cheese. It's the perfect bite of the bayou and the perfect meal for any Cajun crave. Try our Cajun flip or dive into a sweet the swamp pizza bowl. A taste of Louisiana flavor is waiting on you. Let's share a slice today at Johnny's Pizza House.
We all plan to be on time, but fender benders, damaged windshields, and slick roads quickly disrupt those plans. At Shelter Insurance, our agents help design personal protection plans that work for you and help keep you on track. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
See Shelter Agent Jamie Creel in Flora and Ridgeland, 601-992-6000.
Huddle up, wing lovers, and double your count for less on Wing Tuesdays at Buffalo Wild Wings. When you buy one order of traditional wings, get one for 50% off. No time to dine? Order for delivery and wing it up with a crew at home. Or pick up takeout when you're on the go. Limit one per order, not valid with any other offers. Additional terms and conditions apply. Huddle up for Wing Tuesday at Buffalo Wild Wings.
Looking to make technology work for your business instead of the other way around? Visit brentech.ms today. From reliable network infrastructure and wireless internet to cloud or on-premise backups, Brentech has solutions that keep your business connected, secure, and running smoothly. Don't let tech headaches slow you down. Discover how Brentech can simplify and elevate your business at brentech.ms. That's brentech.ms. Brentech, technology made easy.
And we are back here at the Andrew Gossip Show on 103.9 WYAB. Phone number 601-879-0002. Text line is open at 601-879-5060. Phone number 601-879-0002. Got this text in from Kim Wade. 601-879-5060. And got this text by the globalists. Kim Wade. I tend to agree. I'm more and more inclined to agree that there is a Senate is controlled by the globalists or single overarching entity. I'm more and more inclined to agree that there is a single state. Here is Democrat Jared Moskowitz. I think that's how you say his name, from Florida. United States. Here is he's in the Congress. Democrat Jared he gets money from AIPAC. I think that's how you say his name. He's Jewish, from Florida, but he makes a good point here, and I want to play it. He's in the Congress.
We lost the last election. It wasn't close. Okay, but the fact that we can't even tell people why we're too afraid to tell them the truth. They know the truth. They saw the debate. They saw what happened, right? Okay, and they saw that we got killed in the election. We lost every swing state. So they can write whatever document they want, but Democrats know why we lost.
They saw what happened, right?
Yep. And they saw that we got killed in the election.
The Democrats are refusing to release their autopsy, their after-action report. Yep. On why they got slaughtered in 2024. Autopsy. Some of them will blame Biden not getting out of the race soon enough. The truth of the matter is that was like you saw full-on mass media coercion, Operation Mockingbird. The truth of the matter is that was like you saw full-on. Isn't it crazy now we can actually say Operation Mockingbird on the radio and not be mocked, ridiculed, scorned, or otherwise? Isn't it crazy now we can actually say Operation Mockingbird on We've
radio,
linked to CIA
and not be
documents that
mocked,
talk about it.
ridiculed, scorned,
How
or
they
otherwise
infiltrate
flogged for it.
CIA case officers
Because
into
it's true.
positions inside government,
We've linked to CIA documents that
inside
talk about it.
media
How
organizations.
they infiltrate CIA case
Heck,
officers.
we've got a
into
CIA case
positions
officer
inside
running the
government,
Commonwealth of Virginia now. And it's
inside
just like, yeah, no
media
big deal.
organizations.
Good old
Heck,
Abigail
we've got a CIA
Spanberger
case officer running the Commonwealth of Virginia now.
driving the
And it's just
Commonwealth
like,
straight
yeah, no
into the
big deal.
ground.
Good old Abigail
And
Spanberger
I know that there are people out there who
driving the Commonwealth straight to
are
the ground.
pro-Israel, and I know people who are out there who are anti-Israel.
And
I know there are people out there who are
I know that there are people out
pro-Jewish
there
state and who are anti-Jewish state.
are
And then there's a group of people
pro-Israel.
who
and I
just
know
don't want to
people
be
who are out
involved
there
with
who
it at
are
all.
anti-Israel. I know there are people out there who are
But I would
pro-Jewish
argue this is
state
the
and
same
who are
thing,
anti-Jewish
just like
state. And then there's a
communism.
group
You
of
don't
people
have
who
to
just
be
don't want
involved
to be
in it. You
involved
don't
with it
even
at
have to
all.
want to be around it. You don't even want to know anything about it.
But I would argue
But
this
it's
is the
still
same
out there.
thing, just like communism. You don't have to be involved in it.
Not
you don't even have to
tackling
want
these
to be
really
around
hard,
it. You don't
difficult
even want to
issues
know
like
anything about
race
it.
relations,
But it's still out there.
redistricting. That's like getting a credit card
Not
for
tackling
bill
these really hard,
where you know
difficult
you can't
issues
even
like
make the minimal
race
payment.
relations,
So what you do?
redistricting.
You rip it up real quick
That's
and
like
throw it in the
getting a credit
garbage.
card
Have
for
yourself
bill
a stiff
where you know you
alcoholic
can't
drink,
even make
maybe
the
smoke a
minimal
blunt,
payment.
and think about it later.
So what you do? You
You're
rip
sticking
it
your
up
head
real
and
quick and
putting
throw
it
it
in
in
the
the
sand
garbage. Have yourself a
when we don't
stiff
deal with these
alcoholic
things.
drink, maybe smoke a blunt and think about it later.
People are already
You're
asking,
sticking your
and
head
that
and
was
putting it in the
CNN, by
sand
the way.
when we
So
don't
what
deal with
happens
these
is
things.
CNN realizes they've got to report the news just a little
People are already
bit. So
asking,
we'll
and that
get
was
on there and try to
CNN,
make
by the
it
way.
as best
So
as
what
possible.
happens is CNN
The
realizes
DNC
they've got to
autopsy,
report the news
they don't
just a
want
little
anything to
bit.
do with
So
it.
we'll get on there and try
They
to
don't
make
want
it
anything to do with it.
as
I got
best as
another clip
possible.
here I want to play from
The
you.
DNC autopsy,
And this is
they
coming
don't want anything
from,
to do with it.
we haven't used these guys
They don't
since they
want
actually
anything to
turned
do
into
with it.
MS
I got
Now
another
/
clip here I want
MSNBC
to play
/
from you.
BS Always.
And this is
But
coming
yet,
from,
here
we
we
haven't
are.
used these guys since they actually
45
turned into MS
seconds.
Now / MSNBC / BS Always. But yet,
I mean,
here we are.
Nina,
45 seconds.
I agree with that. Again, I mean, it's a painful conversation to have for a lot of folks, but I mean, if you don't have it and you don't start winning, we're stuck. I mean, it's a painful conversation to have.
Think about that. This is a news media that's saying we're stuck.
And you
it's
don't
just
start winning,
MS Now
we're stuck.
is just as bad as Fox.
Think about that. This is
It's
a
just
news
Fox is
media
on the other foot.
that's saying we're stuck. And it's just that MS Now
I
is just as bad as Fox.
There's really very
just
few
Fox
news
is on the
organizations
other
out there
foot.
that will critically look at both parties. And I don't want to say Democrat first or Republican
There's really
first, or
very few news
or
organizations out there that
Republican
will critically
last
look
and
at
Democrat first.
both parties. And I don't want to
It-
say Democrat first or
There's-
Republican
Our news
first
media
or,
is completely
or Republican
washed up.
last and Democrat
and you literally
first.
have to sit there and spend an hour
There's our
curating
news media is
algorithms on your
completely
favorite social media
washed up.
networks to try to get
And
both
you
sides of
literally
the
have to
story.
sit
Not
there
just
and
your
spend an
side,
hour
but both sides.
curating algorithms on your favorite social
It's
media
pretty easy to get a
networks to try to get
left-leaning
both sides of the
algorithm,
story.
not so much on
just
the
your
right side,
but
but
both
it is
sides.
painful.
It's pretty easy to get a left.
We saw that
leaning
pain with the
algorithm,
Up in
not so
Smoke
much on the right side.
protest here
But
in
it is
Jackson,
painful.
which Gabe has video of, which I hope to get to in the next hour. We
saw
might
that
get to it,
pain
we
with
might
the
not.
Up in Smoke protest here in Jackson, which Gabe
But
has
when you
video
have
of,
people who don't
which I
want
hope
to
to get to in the
recognize
next
just
hour.
the
We might
simple
get
truth
to it,
that
we
we're
might
not,
not.
we're not walking this country down the road it needs to walk on, when we're
But
walking
when
away from what
you
got
have
us here
people
in
who
the
don't
first
want to
place,
recognize just the simple truth that we're not
and we
walking
start
this country
legalizing a
down
bunch
the
of
road
things
it
that
needs to
probably
walk
shouldn't
on, when we're
legalize,
walking away from what got us here in the first place.
well, you get things like this Democrat
And we
autopsy
start
that no one's ever
legalizing a
going to
bunch of
see.
things that probably shouldn't
Yeah,
legalize.
again, the leadership both in
Well,
both chambers of the
you
Congress and
get
the
things
leadership
like this
of the
Democrat
DNC, they are
autopsy
not
that
the
no one's ever
right
going to see.
leadership to take us to
Yeah,
the
again,
next
the
level.
leadership
You need
both in both chambers of the
Well,
Congress and the
tell us
leadership
who's going
of
to
the
be the
DNC.
leadership
They
that
are
needs
not
to
the
do it. Is it going
right
to be
leadership to
AOC?
take us to the next
new
level. You need
leadership that's willing to fight.
Well, tell us
And this
who's going to
would
be
be
the
my message
leadership
to
that needs to
Democratic
do it. Is it going to
voters.
be AOC?
Stop electing spineless
leadership
Democrats
that's
and
willing
start
to
electing
fight.
people
And
based
this
on
would be my message
policy
to Democratic
and not
voters.
necessarily
Stop
just
electing
electability
spineless
alone.
Democrats and start
And that's coming
electing
from
people
MRC
based on
Newsbusters.
policy
Great
and
job
not
doing that.
necessarily
But you know,
just
what that
electability
lady said is
alone.
absolutely right.
And that's coming from MRC Newsbusters.
But you
Great
could
job
change one
doing
word
that.
in that
But you know,
sentence,
what that lady said said is absolutely
and
right.
the other side would completely agree with it, and the other side would be completely
But
turned
you
off
could
by it. If
change
that
one
lady would
word
have
in
said
that sentence,
Republic or voters need to stop
and
electing
the other side would
spineless
completely agree with
Republicans
it, and the other side
and
would be
vote on
completely turned off
policy
by it.
X,
If
Y,
that
and
lady
Z,
would have said Republic or voters need to stop electing
you would completely
spineless
agree with that.
Republicans and vote on policy
And I
X,
can
Y,
already
and
see
Z,
my Thomas Massey friend saying, "Oh yeah, look at Thomas Massey.
you would completely agree with that.
He voted on policy.
And
He
I can
voted
already
on
see my
principle.
Thomas Massey friend saying,
He got
"Oh
smoked."
yeah, look at Thomas Massey."
I guess MAGA's not dead.
He voted on principle. He got smoked.
And again, Thomas Massey issue,
I guess
as far as I'm concerned, it's only going to hasten whatever's going to happen in the United States.
Thomas Massey issue,
because now,
as far as I'm concerned,
you've got the Senate refusing to bring bills forward, pushing other bills forward
in the United States.
It's almost operating like there's like a 70-30 majority in the House for the or in the Senate for the Democrats.
Bills forward. It's almost
you'll have
operating like
the
there's
Lisa
like a
Murkowski's, the John Thunes,
in the
the
House
Turtle McConnells,
or in the Senate for the Democrats.
The Chuck Grassley's.
You'll have the Lisa Murkowski's, the John Thunes,
and all the Democrats,
the Turtle
led by Chuck Schumer.
The Chuck Grassley's.
They're all going to start pushing this stuff and
all the Democrats,
stopping the progress
Chuck Schumer
of getting this country turned around. Andrew, this country's going into incredible debt. Are you seeing the wealth that's being generated now? Wealth is out generating debt.
Andrew,
now we can't tax that wealth. We can't get all that money
that's being generated now.
And I would agree that we need to cut our spending in places that
we can't tax
we can.
that wealth.
And there's a lot of fat to trim.
And
there's a lot of people who need to go to jail. Both sides would agree with that.
We can. And there's
Brother John and I agreed with that.
To trim. There's a lot of people who need to go to jail.
Brother Chris Hinkle did have an interesting argument to make yesterday when I was debating John. And it's sometimes when you're in a debate, you wish you would have said something, but you didn't.
Argument to make.
Because you didn't think of it because you're so focused.
Debating John, and it's
I'm
sometimes
sure
when you're in a debate,
and
you wish you would have said something, but you didn't.
Sometimes when you got to work the soundboard, it gets kind of crazy.
You're so focused. I'm making sure that you
as
get your
upset as
point,
people are about Trump's fumbling of
sometimes when you got to
the Epstein
files,
files,
it gets kind of crazy. But
what about Biden?
As upset as people are about Trump's fumbling,
what about Trump before
the Epstein files?
What about President Obama before that?
What about Biden?
To sit there and get all upset over the Epstein
what about
stuff.
President Obama before that?
I wish it would have been handled a lot better. Clearly, Pam Bondi was not the right person for that job.
Over the Epstein stuff.
And the thing about it is
it would have been handled
both
a lot
sides
better.
do this.
Clearly, Pam Bondi
we
was not the right person
one
for
thing
that job.
That the other side is wrong on, and we just maximize that. Because that's how warfare works. You find the one weakness, you exploit it, and you rip it to shreds.
The other side is wrong on, and we just maximize that because that's
what's happening right now in our country, and we're suffering for it
to shreds.
But we do have ladies out there like AJ Kern, who is doing her best to expose this
right now in our country,
AOC nonsense in Minnesota.
But we do have
she's going to be on the show next Tuesday at 10:06 a.m. I hope you all can listen. You are tuned into the Andrew Gossip Show on 103.9 WYAB.
Minnesota.
We'll be right back.
She's going to be on the show next Tuesday at 10:06 a.m. I hope you all can listen. You are tuned into the Andrew Gossip Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back.
Everybody, Tim Burchett. It's after 1 o'clock. We're leaving Transportation Committee. I was here Monday and Tuesday, and we didn't do anything. And here it is. What is it? Thursday night, Friday morning. Monday and Tuesday we didn't meet at all, and then we get dropped a 1,000-page bill. When did they drop it on us?
This weekend,
Saturday, Sunday, and then Chairman Graves, who's a Republican, voted against. It looked like a majority of the Republican amendments, and most of them died, and they were all pretty good, doing away with those crazy traffic cameras. And they're just, all they are is revenue cameras. And wouldn't vote with us on that. And of course, they're in the bill, and it's just, it's got a lot in it. I'm getting another bite at the apple, I guess, on the floor, but it's the wheels are greased on this, and the lobbyists are all jacked up on it. So anyway, it's just what they do to you. We should know better being in the majority, but we're not. It's just, that's what happens in these committees, folks. Every time we just get rolled, and they cut the deal a long time ago before any of us have access to it. So you got a few amendments in there, but not what we really needed. Anyway, I'm disgusted with our own party. This is what happens.
em chẳng được.
Nope. They will not control us. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB. You know, I've got this clip from Congressman Tim Burchett of Tennessee, running for senator, talking about what really happens and how these bills are made. Because when we were talking about different congressmen getting these 99% voting records, 96% voting records, and I talked about, we never really talk about the committee votes. And I was actually quite shocked to see so many people not believing me in that when I was talking about that. So I think I'm going to save that discussion for the next hour, and we'll go from there. The first hour has just flown by, ladies and gentlemen. Tornadoes or not, we're going to get there, and we're going to get the news reported. There is one story that I too want to talk about, and it's talking about the first grader who shot a teacher in the Commonwealth of Virginia a couple years ago. And they've completely absolved the principal, even though she didn't immediately stop testing and go search that student. They blamed it on other people, but they completely exonerated the principal, which is what you expect. And this is coming from CBS News. Judge dismisses charges against ex-school official accused of neglect after 6-year-old shot teacher. Wasn't it just Clay Edwards earlier this week? I think it was on Tuesday, talking about the most violent group, ages 5 to 14. I'm just saying, I look for things to try to either confirm my bias or disprove my bias. And if it disproves my bias, then I acknowledge that. And everybody's like, oh, you're up against the black culture, or you're up against the white culture, or you're up against the Indian culture, or you're up against the Asian culture. I think that I'm up against all the cultures that deny God. Because I guarantee you, if we had a school system that was actually teaching morality and values, we would not be having the issues that we have. And it's just going to get quicker and quicker. I mean, this is a 6-year-old child. A 6-year-old in first grade bringing a gun to school. I want to read this one thing. Parker said that she was told about reports that the student had a gun in his backpack, but could not leave her office due to ongoing testing. A reading specialist who first reported the concerns then searched the backpack, but no gun was found, Parker said. The student was observed during recess with a jacket on and hands in the pocket. This teacher was awarded $10 million after all this happened, and she still has a bullet in her chest. Ladies and gentlemen, this has got nothing to do with the Zionists or black culture or anything like this. This has got everything to do with being anti-God. It's got everything to do with anti-God. I believe that. I'll continue to talk about a biblical worldview, and until can't talk about it anymore, because I don't think all the up in smoke protests, all the Tea Party rallies are going to do a hill of beans if we don't put God back in our classrooms and in our kids. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show. We'll be back in about 7.5 minutes. And we are back for hour number 2 of the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We're moving and grooving. We're streaming on Rumble. We're streaming on X. We're streaming on YouTube. We're streaming even on that platform that begins with a F, but we don't like saying the name of it. And we're streaming at the mothership, WYAB.com. So if you can't pick up the 50,000 watt blowtorch of a signal that is 103.9, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to the stream. Give us a follow. Help us grow the station, grow the channel. Be greatly appreciated. Definitely want to be following me on X. I'm posting all the stories that I'm using today. All the stories that I'm using today, you can find there because I want you to trust me, but I want you to validate what I'm saying. If you want to be part of the program today, 601-879-0002. Text line is open at 601-879-5060. Yep. And the mission here at the Andrew Gosser Show is standard. We are here to equip the saints. Who are the saints? Y'all are the saints. I planted it. Apollos watered it, but it was God who created the increase. You know what? I like this one too, though. And I think this is more relevant to what's going on right now. Do not be deceived. God is not mocked. For whatever one sows, they will also reap. What are you sowing in life? What are you reaping in life? Are you planting good seed in the ground with good ideas, good thought? Or are you planting garbage seed, weeds? Weeds growing in your garden, man. Weeds growing in the garden. And you don't want to be using none of that Roundup. That's the devil's work right there, that Roundup. Putting that poison on your vegetable. Not good, not good. So, and by the way, that verse was sent to me by AJ Kern. It's actually exactly what she's got on her website. And I will spend copious amounts of time this weekend going through all that material. And I'd appreciate it if some of you did too. Let's all get smart together. Let's all get smart together. Man, I got so much stuff to get to. I got to start with Tucker, though, before I get to Congressman Burchett. I got to start with Tucker. Because the fall of Tucker Carlson is incredible. And honestly, every day I think this more and more. And I'm not dancing on my friend's grave, but man, when they got Charlie, when they martyred Charlie, you watched everybody coalesce because that was the right thing to do, because the God gene kicked off in everybody. But now, further we get away from his passing, his martyrdom, his murder, you get more crazy crap like this.
And when people win in a race like this, there's evidence of it. And that evidence takes very familiar forms. Enthusiasm, joy, and just sheer numbers. Like, people show up. They can't believe it. We beat the evil Thomas Massey with his jihadi backers.
His jihadi backers. So who is these jihadi backers?
This is a blow against Islamic jihad, whatever that is.
Oh, Tucker. Oh, Tucker. You fool. And for me to call somebody a fool, you know this has got to be pretty serious. And Tucker is, I think, 55, so he should actually know better, because he grew up in the 70s, late 70s, early 80s, and 90s, when Islamic Jihad was just a menace to the Western world. So I did some research on Islamic Jihad real quick, and I just want to kind of run it through you here. So I asked Grok the known number of terrorist attacks counted out by Islamic Jihad. Now, this is pre-2011, 13 publicized attacks. Hundreds more that cannot be directly affiliated with Islamic Jihad, but are suspected by it. 12 in the West Bank and Gaza alone. That's when you could go to the West Bank and Gaza, because I did go. I did go, fam. Got to go to Lebanon, too, before it got completely blown up, infested. In the second Intifada, they say that Islamic Jihad was responsible for 25 to 26% of all Palestinian Palestine suicide bombing attacks. They were in second place. The only person that was more bloody than Islamic Jihad was Hamas. Rocket attacks. In May 2021, estimated 4,000 rocket attacks alongside Hamas, Islamic Jihad. In August, Islamic Jihad was responsible for over 1,100 rocket attacks. But who's this Islamic Jihad? And then they go back through the mid 2000s, 2010 to 2020-ish. They say hundreds more, but they don't have it. And Islamic Jihad participated alongside Hamas in the attack that killed over 12,000 or 1,200 Israeli citizens and took over 240 hostages. You know, they attacked Americans too. We would always get the threat brief about Islamic Jihad when we were pulling into Haifa, Israel, when we were pulling into Turkey. I don't know how they do the port briefs now on the carriers, but the intel report and the forward team would come back and give a lowdown of the crime report in the city that we were going to. People executed. In 1989, 405 killed, executed. Multiple in the 1990s to 2000 suicide bombings, many killed, 18 to 21 people each. Then they give specific examples inside of Haifa and Jerusalem. And think about this. They're not giving a crap who they're blowing up. They're just causing terror. They killed Muslims too. Funding. Primary funder, Iran. Oh, wait, don't say that. Specifically, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. Who's that? Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps. You know, someone didn't even know who that was, and then I said IRGC, and they're like, oh, that's some of the intelligence level that we're having to deal with, people. IRGC gives tens of millions annually, over 70 million a year in some cases, and that's just to the leaders. They give weapons, training, and operational support. Islamic Jihad, Iran, IRGC. Do you get can you put together the dots? I keep on hearing the ministry, put together the dots. Sorry, I didn't mean to blow your ears out. But put together the dots. They also supported Hezbollah in Syria, and they get some funding from there. And they get some funding from different charities, crypto, front organization, but Iran is the dominant state sponsor of Islamic Jihad. Thank you very much. So Tuck, you fool. You know who Islamic Jihad is. But this gets to a bigger question, ladies and gentlemen, and I can see Brother Rick. Let me see if this gets this. See, we don't want to be involved with that. Let them fight it out. We got to focus on what's going on here in Mississippi. We can't even get our redistricting right, for crying out loud. But again, if you have a biblical worldview, a true biblical worldview, you would see that we should be interested in what's going on over there, not because we can control what's going to happen. God's got that figured out. But you should know what the heck's going on over there, and you should be sitting there thinking to yourself, organizations that are funding the world, terror organizations, countries, state sponsors of terrorism, Islamic states, Islamic republics specifically, primarily that are Shia, you should probably want to make sure that doesn't happen again, so they don't shut down the world's oil. Because now everybody's ticked off at high gas prices over Memorial Day weekend when we have no shortage of oil. We don't have a shortage of oil. We can even refine it all. It's just the globalists are skimming all the money off of it, except for the globalists in London who are really pissed off. Sorry for that word, but they're incredibly angry because Great Britain's not taking their $2 to $3 a barrel off the top of every barrel of oil going through the Straits of Hormuz through Lloyd's of London Insurance. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. taking all that money off the top. Taking all that money off the top. You want to know why Europe in London is in the shape that it's in, or England in London? Excuse me, not Europe, England in London. And the shape they're in, they lost their slush fund. They lost their sugar daddy. But we don't know who the Islamic Jihad is. And honestly, I like Tucker Carlson because he makes me think. And even though he's gone off on this tangent lately, I still listen to him. I respect him, but that was a foolish comment there. And that, you know what? I say foolish things sometimes too. And I just hope I get the grace and forgiveness when I say something like that. But I had to respond to that. Now you've got the IRGC, Iran, Islamic Jihad, Hamas threatening to cut the cable line, the internet line going through the Straits of Hormuz, $10 trillion of commerce a day. Call me silly, but man, I don't want it to happen, but I kind of do. I want to see how many people with their marks of the beast can function without their internet. You want to talk about an absolute, complete global meltdown? Go have Iran with one of their little mini subs go snip one of those lines. There's a reason that we've got our Navy sitting over there guarding that. The IRGC wants to put an internet tax on all the data that goes through that cable. And when I say a cable, it's not like, you know, a 3-inch or 5-inch cable. You're talking a massive cable with all sorts of fiber. And if that line gets cut, it's not like it's going to be you're losing your power after a tornado blows through your town. You're talking a month, maybe 2 months to get that cable back up. Starlink is going to be screaming, fam. Starlink is going to be screaming at that point. Anyways, I want to talk about that. I got to get to Tim Burchett. I got to get to Brother Gabe. I'm going to try to get there. You are tuned into the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Oh, yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show right here on 103.9 WYAB, moving and grooving. If you want to be part of the program today, I did get a text talking about that teacher that just got shot. I didn't mention any skin colors of the skin, but if we wanted to guess what race is what, you can do that. You can go read the story. I did that because the fact of the matter is if what you were thinking is what you were thinking because of your biases, you're probably correct, with the exception of one person in there. Pretty awesome. And then thanking me for my service to my country. Yep, brother, I appreciate it. We're going to thank Daniel Fannin on Monday. I'm going to do my annual Daniel Fannin speech that I give because that guy was a stud. And we can never forget him. All right, where am I looking here? I'm looking for Tim Burchett. Got lots of tabs open here. Where did I put Tim? Oh, come on. Well, Tim Burchett just decided to leave the audience here. And that's really disappointing. So I'll go to my next story. And speaking of teachers that getting shot, here's a teacher that didn't get shot, but she's going to be in trouble after she made this TikTok. Let's go in 3, 2, 1.
The head of the U.S. Department of Education. My first act of office will be immediately abolishing the No Child Left Behind Act. Yes, we will be leaving children behind. If they fail a class, they will have to repeat it.
And that's awesome. She's now the Department of Education secretary, and she's going to get rid of No Child Left Behind because you know what? Failing sucks. But this is just a perfect example of how politicians make bills that sound really good. How could you vote for the No Child Left Behind Act? Because it's dumbing everybody else down. Not right away. Everybody will get their money. People will go get their worthless degrees. People will go and sit there and start using the system to make sure that no child gets left behind. But we can firmly say in 2026 that between the kids and the parents and the cell phones, your kid is being left behind. You know, I got advertised for a homework app, an app that does homework. I about flipped out. Let's continue with what this nice lady says.
An act is one that I'm very passionate about. We will be bringing zeros back. If you don't know, in many schools in the U.S. right now, students receive 40% or 50% if they do zero work, if they do not complete an assignment. And my school included, and many other schools are not going to be allowed to give a student a 50% if they do not turn in any work. They will have to receive a zero.
I'm curious here if that's here in Mississippi. I know that there's teachers out there listening to me because you send me emails and comments about it, and it always will remain confidential. Never have to worry about that. But are there policies in place that say that you have to give a minimum grade participation trophy for education? Think about this. This kid growing up and he wants to be a doctor. But he can't finish a third grade education assignment and getting 50% on it. You wouldn't want that person being the janitor. I mean, I'll be truthful with you. I had a very senior military officer once tell me, you know, the degree is not so much important as to prove that you can start something and finish something that you started. Andrew, I was being interviewed by the Air Force, and it was a 05, getting ready to put on 06. And that was one of the major criteria they had for becoming a rated officer in the Air Force, a flyer. Now, the Navy, Marine Corps, Army all have warrant officer programs where you don't have to have a degree to become an officer, limited duty officer in the Navy, where, you know, you can raise to the title of a full bird captain. You're not necessarily going to get a command as an LDO, but you're going to make it there, or at least you could back in the day. But it just goes to show you, you know, little Johnny's got to get a participation trophy. Sally's got to get a participation trophy. even though she's not doing the work.
There will be no completion grades, right? If you just attempt an assignment, that doesn't mean you get a 55%. Like if you get a 1 out of 10, you earn a 10% on that assignment. And that's okay. Sometimes failing happens and we don't need to just inflate the grades just for fun. Great.
Listen to this. How many of you actually improved after failure? Like these Gen A's and Gen Z kids that are coming up, the 16 to 15 to 14 to 17, 18-year-olds, you can't correct them. They have to go out and fail themselves, and then they get all upset and go to their phone for their anxiety app because they failed, because they didn't know what to do. These kids aren't experiencing failure early in life, so that their brains aren't being formed the right way. Instead, you just sit them in front of Disney Plus and Bluey and give them ratings, and you're just like, hey, Sally's not arguing and complaining.
It will reflect students' actual performance and understanding of the content. The third one I'm very excited for as well. Teacher evaluations will take place once a year, and teachers will be observed by another current teacher from a different school. Teachers would volunteer.
That's going to go over like a turd in a punch bowl. You know, no one likes being evaluated. I didn't mind it. I didn't necessarily like it. But when you've got an institution of people who haven't ever really been evaluated seriously on a regular basis, spot evaluation too, but nonetheless, we always had to be not inspection ready, evaluation ready. Oh my God, drugs, you killed me, man. But it was awesome. You know, the command takes on the life of the commander, reflects the commander's values. And always being ready to have that evaluator walk through the door for an ORI, operational readiness inspection. If they're in Air Force, you know what an ORI is. You know that's not fun. And I think our school teachers should be evaluated. Thing is that there's something like 31,000 school teachers in Mississippi. That's a lot of evaluations to get done.
To be evaluators, they would get a sub for the day, no questions asked, and then they would evaluate objectively. That way the person evaluating you does not know you and does not have any personal bias towards you. Hopefully. Okay, the fourth one.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea in theory, but I don't think
the fourth.
I don't think.
Okay, the fourth one.
Hey, now come on, computer. You know, I think that's a good idea in theory, but number one, you're going to have teachers who are evaluators. You know, let's be realistic. Maybe 5% to 6% of the teachers are going to want to actually evaluate someone else. And there's going to be the HABU rule, hook a brother up. And maybe it's going to be the HATU rule, hook a teacher up, hook a sister up. We called it HABU in the F-15 community. It was non-gender. It's just we're making sure that we take care of our own. And I just find it really hard to have that many teachers get evaluated annually. But A for effort. But I'm not sure that one will work. I'd like it to be there, but I just don't think it's going to get there.
Hopefully. Okay, the fourth one, I think this should be common sense, but I hear that it happens all the time at some schools, never at mine. But teachers shouldn't be expected to work for free. I hear elementary teachers are doing these before and after work things that they aren't getting paid for, like lunch duty or recess duty or pickup duty, whatever it is. The school needs those things covered. People can volunteer for it, and then they have to get paid for it. Can't force you to cover other people's classes for free. They have to pay you extra if they're going to take away your lunch or your prep or whatever time that is supposed to be yours.
Now, this is going to sound controversial, but I agree. I remember my teachers, our coaches, our lunchroom staff, our study hall monitors, those were all extra duties that teachers were paid for in School District 155, Cary Grove High School, Cary, Illinois. I don't know if they do that in Mississippi, but maybe that's just because of the upbringing that I had in the school district that I was in. I mean, if you're doing work and the expectations you were hired under were to teach class, didn't say nothing about PE teacher, recess monitor, lunchroom monitor. getting the kids out to the school bus on time. Well, that's part of the deal. Well, that's why you have other staff there too. I mean, there's some of this that could maybe be negotiated into the contract, but I think if you're coming on as a new teacher and you're expected to teach, and maybe this might be completely unrealistic, and if that's the case, I'd like to hear that. But I don't know any job, including this job here at WYAB, where I'm just expected to come in for my 2 hours a day and then be done. I'm expected to show up sober, clean-minded, ready to go, not say certain words on the radio, try not to cause a fire in downtown Jackson, cause a riot. You know, there's basic expectations. But I might be asked to go out and attend an event or do something like that, and I get it, and I would happily do it, and I'm not expected to give extra pay for that. And again, this is a very, very young millennial or just brand new Gen Zer type of chick here talking. Let's let her finish up.
And then force you to do something without getting paid. There will be no more voluntelling. This is my.
And I love that, because in the military, we were voluntold all the time. Who remembers the mandatory fund? Top, do you remember that? Did the Army have mandatory fund? I know the Navy did. I know the Air Force did. I know the Marine Corps did. This is Amber.Marley44 on TikTok. This video is 5 days old, so it's not like I'm going back to 2023 to get some of this stuff. Although some of the content that I did have is from 2023. I will put this on X so that you all can follow it. And we'll continue to complain about the education system till it gets fixed. The Mississippi Miracle is good, and I'm glad kids are reading, but do they have the comprehension? And that would be a good deal to go to. Get the reading comprehension test and see how well that is. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. Yeah. Welcome back to the Andrew Gosser Show, last segment. And I am going to have to do some typing real quick because my Tim Burchett video, which I just pulled up, went kaput. And it's all right because I got it saved. And here we go in 3, 2, 1, boom.
Everybody, Tim Burchett. It's after 1 o'clock. We're leaving Transportation Committee.
Now, it's important because this is where these congressmen and senators say that they're with the president 90% of the time, 97% of the time, but in committee is where they put in all the details that make a bad bill even worse.
Here Monday and Tuesday, and we didn't do anything, and here it is. What is it? Thursday night, Friday morning. Monday and Tuesday we didn't meet at all, and then we get dropped a 1,000-page bill. When did they drop it on us?
This weekend,
Saturday, Sunday.
Imagine that. I've got to give a shout out to the Sweet Bee. My brother Shane Kilburn wrote a book, and it's a big book. Sweet Bee read it in an hour and a half, Shane. An hour and a half. Like 150-page book. Whoop. Can you read that fast? Now you're asking congressmen and senators to read a 1,000-page bill in less than a week. Now that's their job. But with all the bills and all the paper that's getting pushed through, it's the staffers, it's the lobbyists who are writing these bills. And then it comes to committee. And Tim Burchett finds the 5 or 6 things he doesn't like about it and tries to get it changed. And let's see what happens.
And then Chairman Graves, who's a Republican, voted against, it looked like a majority of the Republican amendments, and most of them died, and they were all pretty good.
Chairman Graves, all these Republicans bringing up amendments, good amendments, and the Republican chairman of the committee kills it all in the transportation bill. See how that works, ladies and gentlemen? And then people get mad when people like Thomas Massey get primaried. People are getting mad now that John Cornine's getting primaried. And I did retweet that Tim Burchett video on there. But it brings me to John Cornyn and his craziness. Brother Chris Hinkle sent me a message. I'm going to read it here word for word because I think it's good. Today is May 22nd, 2026. John Cornyn has 4 days left in his political career. We will find out who he is based upon whether or not he endorses Ken Paxton in the general election in November. As you know, President Trump came out against Senator Cassidy in Louisiana. He gone. Tom Tillis in North Carolina. He gone. Now we're getting rid of John Cornyn. He gone. And the thing about it is that Ken Paxton said if Trump came out and endorsed John Cornyn, he would go ahead and endorse John Cornyn and get out of the race. And Ken Paxton, by the way, has been an outstanding attorney general in Texas. You can only get to so much. People are like, why are you focusing on Texas? Why not Mississippi? Well, because I'm trying to show Mississippi that you're not on the radar screen, but you're quickly becoming on the radar screen with this whole redistricting stunt that we're pulling. I mean, we've got all sorts of stuff going on here in Mississippi. I've seen now 3 maps that are clearly legally drawn. One of them has been posted by Blake Bartlam, who will be guest hosting on the radio show on Monday. I'm not sure if we're going to redo the 3rd hour or not. We'll figure that one out. But 4 districts, safely Republican. All of the concerns and worries that the politicos are saying, impossible not to do. Andy, quit talking about it. Quit talking about it. Robert Foster, Mississippi. It doesn't matter what we already held primaries in Mississippi. They're going to sue no matter what. Call a special session to redistrict now. If the courts delay it for the cycle, then we implement it next year. Voters want Mississippi in the fight. Pick a side. And he targets Mississippi GOP, Red District, Mississippi legislators, and we stand with MS voters. The grassroots is so behind this. And I'm not doing this to necessarily call out the decisions that have already been made. I think they can be corrected. But the last thing you want is Big Daddy Trump moving into Mississippi to decide he's going to get involved in state senator races like he did in Indiana. Last thing you do is want Big Daddy Trump getting involved in congressional races in 2028 cycle. Because look, when Trump is on his way out the door, he's going to be like, screw it. I'm not going to be here. I'm going to flamethrow all these people. Why put yourself on somebody's radar scope? That's like the Air Force Academy student who messaged the Air Force Chief of Staff, 4-star general, top general, blasting the general for firing the commandant of the Air Force Academy. And the Air Force, or the Chief of Staff of the Air Force Base, said, "Get off my radar scope." Man, the gravitas of that. The gravitas of that. Here's Ken Paxton on Fox, minute and 7 seconds.
I think he's the most significant endorsement in at least my lifetime. If you get his endorsement, it's better than it's the gold standard. And so, people have a lot of respect for that, especially in the Republican primary.
Did you speak to the president today?
I sure did. Yeah. He called me this morning. He said, he didn't say exactly what was going to happen. He just said, I think you're going to like what I'm doing today.
I bet that was that a short conversation? Was it a longer conversation?
No, we talked about it.
Did he tell you why?
Yeah, he suggested that he thought I was the best candidate. I don't want to get into the details about everything he said because it's a private conversation. But yeah, he thinks I'm the best candidate and that I will actually help him get some of these things done, like the Save America.
Isn't that what we want to happen? We want to see the Save America Act bill get done. Leader Thune blocking it, Turtle McConnell blocking it. We want to see things get done. And when we see Republicans blocking presidential goals and ideas, well, then they need to go. It's almost like you want to keep a little bit of a scab on a wound. You won't let it heal completely. You keep that little scab there over and over again. Eventually it gets infected and you lose an arm or a leg or whatever. Let's keep going on this.
America Act, which I have been promoting since they first passed it in the U.S. House. So it's something that I've been disappointed in, that the Senate hasn't gotten done, that John Cornyn has not been successful. And, I even challenged him right after the primary. I said, look, he hasn't accomplished anything in 42 years of anything good. No one's been able to tell me what that is over the last 14 months. I'll give him a chance. Maybe he can get this one really important thing done, and I'll consider dropping out. And sure enough, he couldn't get that done.
Can you believe that? Has that argument been used with other congressmen and senators in the state of Mississippi? Not getting stuff done? Could it be that's why certain senators got endorsed in this election because they were with Trump when Trump needed her to be there? I'm not saying it makes it completely right. I'm not saying that you couldn't have somebody who's more conservative or more vocal, not. But Cindy Hyde-Smith, when Trump has needed her, she's been there. John Cornyn, not so much. Tom Tillis, not so much. Cassidy in Louisiana, not so much. I don't know his first name. You know me and names, people. And we need to have people move through the Senate and the Congress at a lot quicker pace. I know Turtle McConnell's been there. I saw something that he'd been there since I was a 6th grader. 1985. 6th grade. And that old fogey is still there. And you know what? You got to listen to the Zoomers and the alphas when they say, we're sick and tired of these boomers still being in power. I don't think Turtle McConnell even a boomer. Last minute, let's take it. Go ahead. You got to. Oh, hey, that's a bad connection. Got to call back. Ugh. I hate it when that happens. I'll tell you what, I hope he calls back. I'm going to take the break early. If he calls back, I'll hold him through the break, and we'll talk to him then. You are listening to the Andrew Gosser Show on 103.9 WYAB. We'll be right back. And we are back here at the Andrew Gosser Show. Last segment of the show, last segment of the week. My, has the time flown by. It just screamed by. It was just like yesterday was Monday. Look, to caller who tried to call in, just connection bad. I don't sit there and try to be that guy. I think my reputation stands for itself. But again, it goes I just want to talk about last little things here. Number one, making sure that we understand why John Cornyn will lose on next Tuesday. We'll understand why Cassidy lost in Louisiana, and we will understand why Tillis lost in North Carolina. You know, Cassidy and Tillis, I believe, voted to impeach President Trump after he was already out of office. But MAGA, you're dead. You don't matter anymore. I bet you bottom dollar MAGA is going to show out on Tuesday. Whether or not they win or not, that's to be determined. And that's why I say it's so important for so many of you MAGA types, so many of you libertarian types who are maybe more supportive of Massey than let's say not a John Cornyn, but John Paxson or Ken Paxson. It's important that you're in local office. It's important that you're known so that your views build up, so that you can go have an event in Jackson, stop the smoker, up and smoke, or bring the smoke, or whatever the smoke is. I'm excited for next week. Blake Bartlett will be here Monday. Tuesday, hope to have a guest in the studio as well as talk to AJ Kern about Ilhan Omar and how we can maybe perhaps ask Congressman Guest to do a formal ethics investigation on Ilhan Omar. I plan to go and spend some time, and all the information's at ajkern.com. We really appreciate it if some of you guys took a little bit of your time this weekend and validated what she's put there. I know that you can do it. Everybody knows that I'll do it, but I'm trying to get so many of you to come along with me on this ride. I don't have time. You know what? What's your screen time looking like this year or this week? How many hours did you spend, not on important screen time, but on just scrolling aimlessly on TikTok? Just saying. Got to say shout out to my world famous Arsenal one more time. We got one game left in the Premier League. We already won the league, so that's great. But this week, Tottenham, you're going down. You're getting relegated, and we're lifting the trophy. Last thing I got to do is I got to talk about the Sweet Bee. I've watched the Sweet Bee over the past couple years really grind hard, published over 70 times, doing real great work, doing amazing things. And today she's taking part in a ceremony at UMMC as we grant new degrees, new masters. I think they're doing doctors too. And the Sweet Bee has been given a significant role in all of that. And I am just so proud of her because every day she proves that she's a Proverbs 31 woman. You know, if you go read other parts of Proverbs, which you should, whether you are a Christian or not, whether you're a Jew or not, whether you're a Muslim or not, and yes, Muslims do believe in the Old Testament, the wisdom that is garnered there, the amount of trouble that you would be led away from if you just read some of that stuff is incredible. And the Sweet Bee does it every day. And I'm so excited. We got a great weekend planned. I hope you have a great weekend planned. Men, do something great with your wife this weekend. Wives, do something great for your husband this weekend. I can't stress that enough. I want to see you all back here on Monday. Until then, take care, everybody. Be blessed. Stay well. Yes, and amen.